Hello everyone, I'm with you here and I have a special guest today. My name is Marilyn, Intuitive Angel Messenger, and I want to introduce you to one of my clients. Her name is Alexia. Hi Alexia.
Hello you guys.
This is how amazing life works for you when you allow the universe to just play out. You can ask for anything you want. And I've been asking for quite a while now to find somebody that can help me with computer work and with further marketing. So I met Alexia. I have never met this lady before at a Halloween party that we did, a spiritual Halloween party in October of last year. And Alexia came with her mother-in-law and her husband. And it turned out that her mother-in-law was an old neighbor of mine. And her husband, who's now fully grown, was just a little kid the last time I saw him. So, Alexia, why did you come to the party? Let's start there.
It was the only thing to do that Friday, and it sounded really fun, something I've never heard of. It was a bunch of spiritual workers. There were tarot and all this really fun stuff. And it just seemed like a really good idea, and we didn't have anything else to do, so we followed along with Mom and Dad, and it was really,
yeah. I was totally shocked and amazed when her husband, who I used to call Little Ricky, is now like over 6 foot tall. And Heidi, her mother-in-law, and her husband, Rick, came in. And I'm like, oh my goodness, because as Lexi said, we did have like 5 different readers that night. And Alexia, I believe you were the first person to get a reading from me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you think of the reading? And I was only doing 10-minute readings at this party because there were so many people there.
There were a lot of people. It was really interesting because I remember I texted you when we left the party saying, I don't know who, oh wait, I think I texted my mother-in-law getting your number, like I need to see this lady again. Because I was actually just going through my spiritual awakening, and I didn't know the correct way to meditate even at this point. I just knew something was going on. So I was freaking out because protection is important for meditation and going into our higher selves and like different dimensions. Obviously you need to be protected. And I had no idea, so I was freaking out. So after she did her 10-minute reading, it was a lot of confirmations that came up in just that 10 minutes. She had good energy. So then I wrote her like, hey, we need to meet up, and then just happenstance, my mother-in-law sold me to her to fix her computer.
Now, let me back you up just a moment. Yes. What do you mean by good energy? I think there's people out there that might not understand that, so how can you determine, what's your determining factor when somebody does have good energy?
I'm glad we are covering this only because at this party, because there were 5 or 6 different people doing different kind of readings, it was intimidating. And for someone who knew I wanted to go into spiritual work, or at least talk to someone about it and see what was going on, it was really intimidating showing up to this party, and there were 5 different readers and they knew their stuff. It was a beautiful galley reading, but a couple of them I was intimidated by. Like I didn't feel comfortable. It was an intimidation that I felt. Like I don't know anything about tarot at this point, and I just wanted someone with a soft smile who didn't treat me stupid for not knowing things. So Marilyn was just like very calm, you explained your confirmations to me wonderfully, and it was the explanation, and she kind of just clicked with how I explain things. So when she explained something, I understood it, as opposed to when I talked to some of the other spiritual people. They were so amazing and so in the game. They know exactly. They were treating me like they were using words I didn't know. So the explanation, I needed someone who kind of saw where I was, problems, and how far I've gone in my spiritual plan. And Marilyn was the first person, and I've talked to many different spiritual advisors the year before, and she was the first person that kind of broke everything down in where I was with my spiritual awakening, and didn't make me feel silly for asking questions like what are chakras, or like how do you open them, can you keep them open, like little stuff like that. It wasn't an eye roll type of feeling. You were really
cool. Yeah. So fast forward a few weeks later, her mother-in-law Heidi came over for a reading, and Heidi used to work for me way back when, and I knew she knew computers, so I asked her to help me with something on the computer, and neither one of us could figure it out. That's usually my MO. I'm into angels and deceased loved ones. I'm not into technology or computers. So she said, let me get my son and daughter-in-law over here. So a few days later, Alexia came over with her husband. Her husband did some fix-up work around the house, and Alexia did what I needed to have done on the computer, and then we went out and had pizza, which is my favorite food. And we were talking, and I asked Alexia what she was doing for a living, and she told me she was in between jobs right now. And it just shot out of my mouth, why don't you become my marketing director? I don't know where it came from. I have been asking for it, and she said she would absolutely love that. So to begin with, we decided to do a bargain where she would come over, help me market, help teach me things, and I would mentor with her. So to get the rest of that story, stay tuned to my next video. I'm glad you could join me today, Alexia.
Thank you so much for having me. It's weird being on this side of the camera.